The following videos are for information only and they're not meant as a substitute for working with aggressive dogs without the experience and knowledge of professional dog trainers or behaviour consultants that use positive reinforcement when they are working with their dogs. Next treatment protocol I'm going to talk about is BAT, or behavioural adjustment training. Okay, it was packaged and devised by Grisha Stewart. I use it a lot. I don't use it all the time, but I use it when I need to, and I use it sometimes at the start of a treatment plan or sometimes well into a treatment plan depending on the dog. So it's been updated since it first came out, and the new version of it is absolutely wonderful, but I still use elements of the older version as well, okay, and that's usually when I get it wrong. Alright, so because the environment's changed a little bit. So, behavioural adjustment training, or BAT, what you're wanting to do is the threshold that we talked about before, which is the distance at which your dog will perceive the other dog. Okay, so we've got the threshold of perception and then the threshold of reactivity. What we want to do is hold the dog just as it perceives the threat or the scary thing. So it's a scary thing and the same scary person. So how that would work, you hold the dog in a long lead, and Grisha talks about using like a 10 or a 12-foot lead, which is a decent size lead, or I found it a decent size lead, but Grisha knows better than I do on this. And what you do is you just go for a meander with your dog. Your dog sees the scary dog, for talking sake. She notices the dog. And what we do is we hold the dog at that distance. Okay, so we hold the dog initially on the lead, and then we balance the dog, and that's just giving the dog a little bit of slack until the dog stands upright on her own, so that she's not moving forward and she's not moving back. So we're not physically holding her back, she's holding herself in that position. We wait until she decides what she wants to do, okay? So she'll give us some sort of cut off or switch off signal, which I've talked about before in a video, some sort of calming signal. The one I see very, very, very often is a tongue flick and the dog's head dips down and sniffs the ground. When we get that calming signal or that switch off, we then follow her to see what she wants to do. If she's fine with the other dog, she will move closer. If she's not fine with the other dog, we will move away. It takes time and patience to do this, okay? But it can be very successful if it's done properly, and I've had great success with it. The older version, what we would do is when we get that cut off signal, we would then leave with the dog, so we would take the dog away, and the relief that the dog feels is what we're using to reinforce the dog. Now, because it's done at such a, if we get the distance right, the stress to the dog is seriously, seriously reduced, and it's as minimal as we can make it. And it's the same distance that we would be using if we were doing counter conditioning or desensitization anyway. So we're not putting any added pressure on the dog by doing this. We lead the dog away, give her a break, and then we can try again, okay? If your dog's not switching off quickly, or it's taking a long time, and they don't switch off, it's because we're too close. So we would reduce that distance. Now, I will use BAT when the dog doesn't take food or won't play outside, so I use it for that, and that's in the initial stages. Or what I will do is once we've got, if I've trained the dog to do something else, so say to turn around towards me in the presence of another dog, and the dog is now starting to become cool around other dogs and starting to become relatively comfortable, I will then start using the new version of BAT, so that the dog can then relax around the other dog, and we're not having to reinforce the dog constantly for the rest of its life for good behaviour around other dogs, because we've changed how the dog feels. Okay, so that's behavioural adjustment training, and it's really, really, really cool if it's done properly. Alright, so that's BAT. Any questions on any of the information that I've given you here, stick them in the comments field and I'll do my best to answer them. We can have a chat about it. Okay, and thanks for watching.